In Part 1, Chapter 1 of Crime and Punishment, it's a hot July evening in 1860s St. Petersburg, Russia, and a young man sneaks out of his boarding house because he owes back rent. Impoverished, living in a tiny shabby room, and wearing ragged clothes, the young man has become self-absorbed and alienated from other people. The young man plans a daring deed of some kind, but wonders if he's capable of it or not. Nevertheless, he goes to a nearby tenement apartment. He rings a doorbell, and a cruel old woman, the greedy pawnbroker Ilyana, lets him in. He introduces himself as Raskolnikov, a student who brings a watch to pawn. He nervously takes in every detail of the apartment. The pawnbroker offers him less than half of what he asks for the watch, then deducts interest from a previous loan she gave him. Raskolnikov, the novel's protagonist, notices where she keeps her keys and pays close attention as she unlocks a dresser in her bedroom to retrieve the money. He promises to return soon to pawn another item. Before leaving, he asks, "Are you always home alone?" The old woman deflects the question, implying that it's none of his business. What could Raskolnikov be planning? Repulsed by what he's been contemplating and deflated by his lowly station in life, he sulks away to a nearby tavern. In Part 1, Chapter 2 of Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov, sitting in the tavern, notices a man who looks like a retired government clerk, and he's holding court. Marmeladov. He appears incredibly drunk, and his clothes are torn and stained. Nevertheless, he has an air of respectability. The patrons and bartender pay him little mind as he raves. He tells Raskolnikov his story. He and his family are impoverished due to his alcoholism. His wife, Katerina Ivanovna, comes from an upper-class background. A widow with 3 young children, she marries him out of desperation. At first, he supported the family as a civil servant, but his alcoholism cost him his job. Now he steals from his wife to drink, and she's developed consumption, or tuberculosis. His eldest daughter, Sonia, resorts to prostitution to feed the other 3 children. But because she's a prostitute, she can no longer live with the family. Marmeladov recently got his job back, but returned to his old ways, and he has not returned home in 5 days. Marmeladov tells Raskolnikov that in the end, God will compassionately forgive all sinners, including Marmeladov and Sonia. Raskolnikov accompanies Marmeladov to visit his family. They share one small, shoddy room, and as their 3 children weep, Katerina Ivanovna berates her husband and pulls him by the hair, demanding to know where the money went. Raskolnikov quickly departs, leaving some coins behind for them. He immediately regrets his generosity, but softens, wondering if he should actually be kinder.